Preacher 357 here again, coming to you from the range where I've got a new gun. You can see here the box says M&P on it by Smith and Wesson. So what could it possibly be? Well, let's see. It says 10mm on the magazine there. And we pull the gun out, and it appears to be a Smith and Wesson 2.0 M&P in 10mm. This is the one that is the 4.6 inch barrel. It's the longer barrel. They also make them in the 4 inch. And this one does have the manual safety on it. I don't know why. I'm not sure what benefit of manual safety is on this gun. But some people like them, and so it's on there. It doesn't make that much difference to me one way or another. This isn't a carry gun. It's not one I'm going to put on my waist for defense, more than likely, unless I'm going in the woods or something. And it's, you know, I can take it or leave it. It really doesn't make any difference to me one way or another. But just a basic frame-mounted safety there that blocks the trigger. And here it is with these really tall sights on them. And that's the first thing that I notice when I see this gun is these gigantic sights that stick way up. They call them optic height sights, which means they're high, so when you put an optic on it, and this is optics ready, it's got the plate right there that you can replace, and it's got several plates with it. I don't even own an optic. Don't even plan on owning an optic. My eyes may get to the point where I have to. I'm not saying it's not possible that I go that direction, but so far I've had no desire. You know, used to you see sights like this, they called them suppressor height sights, but I guess now they're optic height sights. I don't like that myself. I wish they came with just standard size sights, but as long as they shoot fine and, you know, they don't cause your point of impact to be, you know, lower than where you're aiming too bad, you know, it shouldn't be a problem. At close ranges, you know, it may be a little bit of an issue, but once you get out a little bit of distance, it's probably not a big deal. So anyway, that is what I've got here. Just picked it up yesterday. Not shot it yet. This will be a first shots video. But one thing I'm noticing here is that the roll pin in the frame here is all the way out on one side and needs to be pushed in a little bit. So I'm going to do that before we start shooting with this gun. I didn't even notice that last night. I pulled it apart and just threw some ballistol in there and looked around a little bit inside of it just to be seeing what I could see. And one thing that was of interest was the trigger, because it was unbelievably gritty when I dry fired it. I mean, it was in the take-up. It wasn't in the brake. The brake was fine, but the take-up was just extremely gritty. And I thought maybe it was rubbing against something on the frame there. I thought maybe the plastic mold, where they molded that plastic, it was not smooth or whatever. But when I pulled the slide off, just like with the CSX, when I pulled the slide off, it was smooth. There was absolutely no grit whatsoever to it. And so that means it's not in the frame here. It's something up here in the slide that's causing that resistance and causing that grittiness. And it turns out it's just like the CSX. It has to do with well, in this case, the striker block, and the CSX was a firing pin block. But you could just push in on the striker block on this and feel the grittiness there. But it seems to be better. It doesn't seem to be all that bad now at all. I did a lot of dry firing with it last night. Of course, I lubed everything up, and some of that lube, that ballistol, probably got down around that as well a little bit to help it out, because this gun was extremely dry. And I mean, even, you know, when I wiped it down, I was getting some rust color off of the patches as well. So they shipped this out with absolutely no protection or anything on it. Now, this is a pretty good coating, this nitrided type coating they put on here, but just the same, it was extremely dry. So I have gotten it lubed up now, and that trigger is much better now. I mean, it's just a little bit of grittiness now, but it's not all that bad. So that was one of the first things I noticed when I pulled the trigger, was that. But I did pull it down, take it down last night and kind of look at it a little bit. But let's go ahead and do some shooting first. I'm just going to cut and drive that roll pin there in. You can see, if you can see there, it's sticking up proud on this side just a little bit. So I'm going to do that first before I start shooting. I don't want it to slide further out one direction or the other and then, you know, cause a problem. So I'm going to do that first. So hang tight. All right, that's better. All right, let's load it up and just do a little bit of shooting. I have not shot it yet, as I said. This will be my first shots with the gun. I have no idea how it shoots, but we're going to find out. I'm going to shoot some, start out with some Blazer. This is a 180 grain Blazer. I've got a feeling this ammo is not very hot. I have a feeling it's not very warm at all. It's probably not a lot hotter than 40 if I had to guess. These mags hold 15 rounds, which is the same as what the 40 in the full size holds. It's also the same as what the Glock 20 or the Glock 40, if you want the long slide version, holds as well. So it's very comparable to the competition, put it that way. In fact, we'll compare it to the Glock 20 here in just a moment, because there's not a whole lot of difference between them. They're very, very similar. Very, very similar. In size, same capacity. So I may even shoot the Glock 20 alongside it just to see what I think, how it compares recoil-wise and shooting, trigger, all of that, just to see what I think about it, because I like the Glock 20 and I've had that for several years. So let's just see how this M&P 10mm does. Here we go, first time shooting it. Let's see if I can hit anything with this. We'll just start on the cowboy here. Not too bad. Where am I going? Not too bad. Not the best trigger. It's not a bad trigger, but I'm not blown away. You know, they've changed to this flat face trigger with the little inertial safety, or whatever they call this thing, or the dingus as it's often called. The trigger safety, I don't know. Is it an inertial safety? I don't know if it's inertial safety or not. That don't even sound right. But you push it in when you put your finger on the trigger, and it allows the trigger to be pressed in. But I mean, it's not terrible. But let's just shoot a little bit more and see if I can do a little bit better, because I'm still, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out where to hold on. Let's try the cowboy again. It seems like I'm going a little bit to the left with a lot of these, but yeah, I'm struggling to kind of figure out the sights on it. Not too bad. You know, I'm not going to say that I'm just completely blown away and think it's the greatest thing I've ever shot, but it's pretty good. I mean, I've had guns with better triggers. I'll put it that way. It's not just blowing me away. You know, when I first heard about the new triggers on there, I was kind of wondering how they would compare, you know, to the old triggers on the M&Ps, and I don't know that this is as good a trigger as even the 1.0 that I've got. Now, it's more positive, It's definitely got a more noticeable snap and a more noticeable reset. But I don't know that it's a better trigger beyond that. And versus the 2.0 here, here's a 2.0 compact. Of course, it has the hinged trigger here. That's a lot heavier trigger. And maybe it has something to do with that striker block, you know, not being as smooth as what you'd want it to be. But yeah, this has a much better trigger. Even though this one's got the flat face, it's definitely a heavier trigger than the 2.0 compact. But I'm going to load up a few rounds here, and then I'm going to load up some in this Glock 20, and we'll just look at the comparison here. You can see they're pretty much the same size. The Glock is a little wider, maybe. I'm going to say the Glock maybe just a hair wider. Yeah, just a hair wider. Same length, roughly. Same length on the grip, pretty much. They weigh about the same amount. They're both 29 to 30 ounces, I think. So not much difference there either. They hold the same capacity. So, I mean, it's very much a competitor to the Glock. Let me load a few of these rounds up for the Glock then. And we'll shoot them back to back and just see what we think. I have always been an M&P guy. I've always preferred the M&P to a Glock generally, though I have really warmed up to Glocks lately compared to what I used to be. But let's just try it. I'm going to shoot the M&P first, and then I'm going to pick up the Glock and shoot a little bit of it. I think I've only got 10 rounds in the Glock, which I think I've got a full mag here, 15 in the M&P. That ought to give me an idea of what I think. Let's try a little bit more here. I'm not sure where I'm at. Yeah, I might have to figure that out. Now, one thing I noticed picking up the Glock is this is a Gen 3, by the way. It's not even a Gen 4, but this rascal is smooth. That's a very aggressive grip there, that 2.0 texturing, and this one is extremely smooth. So that's the first thing I noticed when I pick up the Glock. But let's just shoot the Glock a little bit and see if I do any better with it. I haven't shot the Glock in a while either. Well, it may just be me not shooting very well today, because I didn't do any better really with the Glock, even though I did hit that 8-inch plate, or 6-inch plate I mean, and I didn't hit the 6-inch plate with the M&P. But let's load up a little bit more. I've got some of my hand loads now. That Blazer was not as weak as what I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to say it was a barn burner, but it wasn't as weak as I thought it might be. Let's see how that compares with my hand loads here. Having trouble getting the rounds down. I don't know what they're hanging up on the edge here. Yeah. Yeah, the rounds have to be all the way to the very back to go down in there is what it is. The mag is just the right size for a 10mm. Some of your mags, you know, you've got a little bit of leeway. If you don't get the round all the way at the very back, it'll still go down. But these are, you know, this mag is just big enough for the 10mm to go in, so it has to be all the way to the very back or it won't go down. All right, let's try my hand load, see if I do any better with them. I'm sure I'll be more accurate with what I load, right? I wouldn't bet on that, but let me see if I can figure this out. Yeah, let me try a little lower. Now, let me try to the right a little bit. I don't know. That's the problem with these first shots videos. You don't know much about the gun. You really hadn't had a chance to feel it out, and you just kind of hope maybe you can feel it out on camera and not make the gun look too bad. But as you know, as I said, this is the first time I've had this gun out, so the fact that I'm not hitting with it is not really saying anything bad about the gun whatsoever, other than the fact that, you know, I'm not blown away with the trigger. I mean, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's a bad trigger. It's just not an amazing trigger either. But let's try out there at distance. Can't tell where I'm going. I'm going right beside it. Going all the way around it. No matter where I go, it seems to be exaggerated. When I try to go high or low. Yeah, I couldn't feel it out. I danced all the way around that thing, it looked like. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And that's the thing, I was shooting so well this week, it seemed like, with some of the guns that I had that I'd shot this week. Of course, some of those were revolvers, and I don't know what it is about a revolver, it just feels so good to me. But I am not shooting as well with this as I would like, that's for sure. I'm gonna load up a couple more mags, and I think that'll probably be good enough for today. I'll probably follow up again with this gun after I get a little bit of practice with it, get a little bit better with it, and kind of get an idea of what I need to do to be accurate with it. Because I need to get out and get some paper. I should have just put a paper target up and started with that, and got an idea of how it was shooting before I did anything else. But that would require preparation, and I'm not good at preparation. If you hadn't noticed, I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And that's sort of the way I've always been. And there are pros to that, and there are cons to that, right? The downside of that is I'm always winging it. The upside of that is when unexpected things happen, I got a lot of practice at winging it, right? There's good and bad in every situation. All right, I'm going to try one more time out here at 80 yards and just see if I can figure it out. All right, I hit it once and I slowed down a little bit. I think that's the other problem, and I've mentioned it before. When I get a semi-auto handgun like this in my hands, I shoot too fast. I tend to just start rapid firing. I mean, I'm not saying I'm just mag dumping, but I start pulling the trigger before I'm really ready. It just, something about it just makes me feel rushed or something. I don't know. But maybe that has a lot to do with it. Let me try one more. All right, I hit it again. That'll do. I don't know how many rounds I got left in here. Last mag. All right, I haven't hit those little plates yet, have I? So we need to try to hit the little ones. To go. Yeah. I think I just get lucky eventually. I hit the littlest one. Why can't I hit this 4-inch plate? Yeah. Maybe I just need to slow down a little bit. And I'm gonna call that good. I hit both the little plates, hit on the last round I shot. I can't expect more than that, right? There's the M&P 2.0 10mm, 4.6 inch barrel. It's got the safety on it. And there she is in all her glory. They have been asking Smith and Wesson, people who are fans of M&P have been asking Smith and Wesson for years for a 10mm, and Smith finally listened. And they came out with this, and it's the same frame as the 45 from what I understand. It's just like with the Glock, the 21 and the 20. The 45 and the 10mm are exactly the same frames. Smith & Wesson's done the same thing. Though strangely enough, this has the same capacity as the Glock, whereas the 45 in the Smith & Wesson only holds 10, whereas the 45 in the Glock 21, holds 13. So that may have something to do with the magwell being just a little slimmer in the Smith & Wesson, and you can kind of see that, especially up here at the top, where it slims up in here, where on the Glock it stays kind of fat, right? So that may be why the Glock 21 holds more than the M&P 45, but the 10mm are the same, 15 rounds in both. I mean, it's a nice gun. I didn't shoot it all that well today. The trigger is not the best, but it's not the worst, and it's getting better. That's the thing. It is smoothing up. If that's a word, smoothing, I guess it is, smoothing up. And getting a little bit better. And the brake's not bad. It's just a tad heavier than the 2.0 trigger here on this one. Not by a lot though, and it's getting a lot better. It's much better than it was when I first took it out of the box. But of course, the other question a lot of people ask is, can you shoot 40? I know I said I was done, but a lot of people ask, can you shoot 40 in your 10mm? Well, I don't know. I hadn't tried it. You know, you're not really supposed to. You know, but I'm not too bright. So I'm liable to try anything just to see if it works. Let's see if it'll do it. Let's see if it'll cycle with 40 in here. Here we go. It did. It cycled. There you go. Can you shoot 40 out of the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 10mm? The answer is yes, you can. Should you? Well, that's another question, right? I'm not telling you should. I'm not saying just shoot 40 out of it all the time. But if you were just in a situation where you absolutely had to have a gun and all you had was the M&P 2.0 10mm and all you had was 40 Smith & Wesson ammunition, you could probably make do. We'll put it that way. But I'm not recommending you try that at home. You know, I'm what you call a moron. So, you know, don't try this at home, guys. I would say I was like a professional. That's what Paul Harrell says. He's what you call a professional, but I'm not a professional. Not really even an expert, so I'm just what I am. I'm Preacher 357. I'm glad you guys came out here to the range to see me shoot the M&P 2.0 10mm. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.